council meeting of June 7th, 2021 to order. First order of business is delegation from Ashcroft School Society, and Mrs. Mertens is here to present, and the floor is yours.
Did you hear that, Gloria?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so go ahead, floor is yours.
Oh, the floor is okay. Hope everybody can hear me. Thank you for putting me on the agenda and allowing me to speak. I'll be sticking to a script to respect the time limit. I wish to acknowledge that I am speaking to you from the bordering territories of the Untitled people. I live across from the Ashcroft Terminal at the mouth of the Bonaparte River. Good evening. My name is Gloria Mertens, and I am the interim vice president of the Ashcroft School Society, a non-profit organization representing the voice of those seeking state and legal access, land access to the Ashcroft School. This includes local people from Ashcroft, Cache Creek, and throughout the region, people who have family ties to the area or who have moved away, and special interest groups out of the region that have used the slough for fishing or recreating. The Ashcroft Slough, for those of you who don't know, is the foreshore of properties owned now by Ashcroft Terminal and is public property that can be legally accessed by the Thompson River, considered a navigable waterway. The Ashcroft Slough foreshore gets flooded yearly, and as the water recedes, forms warm pools and safe channels, making it a desirable recreational spot. The Thompson is also a salmon-bearing river, and the slough is a well-known productive fishing hole. As a river wetland, it has unique ecology in contrast to the desert landscape which surrounds it. The lands within the Ashcroft Slough area are zoned P1, Park and Public Use, by the Village of Ashcroft, and are protected by the BC Riparian Protection Regulation. These lands are not appropriate for commercial, residential, or industrial development. In fact, in 2016, Ashcroft Terminal tried to lease out the properties without success. Overland access to the Ashcroft Slough requires crossing CN tracks, as well as Ashcroft Terminal private properties. A point to remember, however, is that the Ashcroft Terminal properties that would need to be crossed are not included in the filed subdivision plans where development is taking place. On May 13, 2021, the TNRD made a motion to support the Ashcroft Slough Society. The motion read, "The TNRD appreciates the significance of the Ashcroft Slough as a place of historical, ecological, and recreational importance. The TNRD board supports the Ashcroft Slough Society in its attempts to secure safe and legal land access to the slough that is endorsed by the property owner and CN Rail." The motion passed with 4 directors opposed. I'm here to invite councillors to make a motion in support of the Ashcroft Slough Society, similar to what was passed at the TNRD regular board meeting. And why should you consider doing this? 1. The motion offers an honorable example of resolution in securing safe and legal access to the slough, as well as the authority of the private property owners involved. It strikes a balance by remaining unbiased and impartial to all parties. 2. The motion might nudge the parties to get together to talk. Ashcroft Terminal disbanded its community working group set up to discuss recreational options back in September 2020, right after the Ashcroft Slough Society incorporated. Ashcroft Terminal has never met with the Ashcroft Slough Society. 3. There is no financial commitment in doing so. It costs the village of Cache Creek nothing to propose such a motion, and even puts the council in a more favorable light with local citizens looking for recreational alternatives or some action with regards to such. 4. It models responsibility. When Ashcroft Terminal bought all the available industrial land in Ashcroft, over 600 acres, there was an enhanced operations impact community. It is customary to require parkland dedication during the subdivision process. The slough is a wild parkland space. Understand and appreciation for the natural. We must learn to work, live, and
We can put her on speaker and do it by phone if you have, do you have her number? Okay.
the lands were subdivided, nor as the lands were developed in phase stages. A massive amount of soil has been disrupted and continues to be disrupted based on the 1979 soil removal bylaw that could not have anticipated such a huge amount of soil disruption. There was no chance for public
Yeah, maybe let her,
It's-
Gloria, oh,
feedback
Gloria,
regarding nuisance and increased traffic. Yes?
sorry, you're just breaking up a lot, so I'm actually just gonna call you and have you read, kind of after point 3 again, so that everybody can hear it.
I'll call,
The internet isn't stable.
are you gonna do it from your phone or I can
Yeah.
do it from here?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
457, 728,
88?
yeah.
Oh, the battery's dead. Oh, no.
Hi, Gloria?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is going to be any better, so we're at number 3, finish number 3?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go on to number 4.
Yes, please.
Okay. It models responsibility. When Ashcroft Terminal bought all the available industrial land in Ashcroft, over 600 acres, in fact, that's probably more than all the residential houses put together, there was an inherent responsibility to contribute to the well-being of the community, especially as operations impact the community. It is customary to require parkland dedication during the subdivision process. The slough is a wild parkland space, and once accessible, could help foster environmental stewardship and promote an understanding and appreciation for the natural world. We must learn to work, live, and play together. Am I coming through?
Yes.
Should I continue?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Number 5, supporting such a motion would show that the village understands its commitment to the environmental, to the environment and the process of public consultation. Ashcroft Terminal did not undergo a full federal environmental assessment. It did not undergo a provincial environmental assessment. And at the local level, no development permit was issued by the village of Ashcroft despite the development being in a development permit area. No public consultation occurred when the lands were subdivided, nor as the lands were developed in phased stages. A massive amount of soil has been disrupted and continues to be disrupted based on a 1979 soil removal bylaw that could not have anticipated such a huge amount of soil disruption. There was no chance for public feedback regarding nuisance mitigation, such as dust billowing, light egress, increased traffic, nor regarding any suggestions for community enhancements, such as access to the Ashcroft Slough. These are all things that would have been covered during an environmental assessment. There is still confusion how what so many people believed for so long was a public road could suddenly be deemed private, closed, and decommissioned. Cache Creek has several developments under consideration, and this is a chance for the village to reflect on how they will strike a balance between developer inducements and community concerns, as well as to ensure that bylaws, regulations, and acts are followed. 6. A motion of support will acknowledge that the village recognizes the heritage value of the Ashcroft Slough, the only undisturbed natural parcels left in the development area. In fact, the entire Ashcroft Terminal site has heritage significance. For millennia, it was occupied and optimized by First Nations peoples, and over the recent century, common law use of the slough endured. Considering recent events and the calls for action, it is important to make this acknowledgement. 7. The support of 22 of the 26 directors of the TNRD board highlights that this is not a local issue. Other communities were able to commiserate with the concerns expressed and see past their own narrow interests. 8. A motion of support addresses the issue of politicians being accountable and making amends. In 2013, a delegation of citizens from Ashcroft and Cache Creek came before Village of Ashcroft Council with regards to creating a riverine pathway down Evans Road and to accessing the Ashcroft Slough. The mayor stated at that time that it was the intention of Ashcroft Terminal to provide access to the slough area. The citizens left the meeting trusting that this would occur. 9. A motion supporting the Ashcroft Slough Society's attempts to regain access to the slough would show that the councillors, as councillors, you are concerned about the health and well-being of your residents and community. A pan-European research initiative completed at the end of 2020 found substantial evidence that blue and green spaces positively affect the mental health and amount of physical activity populations participate in, especially in the more vulnerable groups of any population. The Ashcroft Slough is one of the few blue and green spaces available that provides easy and close access to the Thompson River. Finally, number 10, a motion of support would demonstrate an act of cooperation between our two communities. There are formal agreements in place, and residents use the community services available in both communities. We also share recreational facilities, such as the curling rink, the arena, parks, and trails. These amenities not only bring visitors to our area, they enhance the livability of our communities and retain young families. Access to the slough would be an amenity that would be a natural space and an attraction for residents and visitors. I hope that I've given you some pause to think and I've not passed my time limit. We're looking for a motion that encourages the parties to really listen to each other and work to resolve this issue. We've seen it done in the last week. We know it can be done. I thank you for listening, and I appreciate your time and attention.
Any questions from Mrs. Mertens?
I have one. Gloria, you mentioned Ashcroft Terminal, but what's CN's position on this, because they have to cross the tracks as well?
Is that Lisa?
No, it's Sue Peters.
Okay, Sue, thank you. Yes, a question. Anything with regards to the negotiations would, of course, both corporations would have to be involved. CN would have to be involved, as well as Ashcroft Terminal. It's not a simple solution. It is complex. It would take a large amount of negotiation and talks. CN, at this point, along with Ashcroft Terminal, are adamant in not allowing access.
Further questions? Mayor Tallarico, to you, Ms. Mertens.
Yes.
Did Ashcroft endorse Director Roden's motion at the TNRD level?
Mayor Roden suggested...
Director Roden? Or
Director
Mayor,
Roden.
are you talking Director Roden or Mayor Roden?
Director Roden
Thank you.
proposed the motion and supported the motion at the TNRD level. At the Ashcroft mayoral level, Ashcroft Council did not support the motion, but it was a slightly different motion. She reworded it and recrafted it so that the authorities involved with CN as well as Ashcroft Terminal were involved in that motion. Therefore, I think the next time we present to Ashcroft Council that they might be more supportive.
The answer is no.
As a community,
No,
in September when we presented it to them, the answer is no.
thank you.
They rejected it in October, I think it was actually October, when we made the presentation. In May, Mayor Roden supported it.
Did Ashcroft Council support it?
No.
Thank you. That's all.
Any other questions?
Not at this time from Pittman.
Excellent. Would you like me to send the script that I read?
Yes, please. This is Councillor Coomber.
Okay, I will do that. I will send it to Alana, I guess,
Yes.
or the email address that I have for the administration.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Bye-bye.
Council to consider adopting the minutes of the regular council meeting held on May 17th, 2021.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Business arising from delegations.
I'll move that we send a letter of thank you to our delegation, Gloria Mertens.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Business arising from the minutes. None. Committee reports. Economic Development, Councillor Peters and Councillor Coomber.
I just have one note. At our meeting last time, we voted against the advertising request for landmark maps. That being said, with our new designation at our info center, they do have a budget for these kinds of things. And I'm asking if it's council's interest, we could send the request, forward the request to Ms. Shepherd to see if she would be interested in pursuing that advertising.
From what I remember of that, it wasn't really for our region. It was quite far away, wasn't it?
What's
It
the
was
whole
it
area, but
It was mainly out.
Okanagan.
yeah,
Yeah,
as a
no,
council,
okay.
we didn't see value, but perhaps as an info center operator, she may see value in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost us anything, so
Okay.
It's in her budget.
it's in her, yeah, she has funding for that kind of stuff, so.
We just
The new
direct staff
designation.
Do we
to,
need a,
we just
big-
direct staff to forward that to the info center?
Thank you. Budget Administrative
Oh,
Services.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I have one item.
Councillor Coomber.
I did contact NDIT today regarding the old Love Cache Creek program that they put on hold in 2020. And the lady that I was speaking to at the time apparently is not there because her email bounced back to me, so I will spend tomorrow looking up a new contact and get in touch with them.
Thank you. Any further? Budget and Administrative Services, Councillor Peters and Councillor Coomber.
I have nothing.
Thank you. Policy and Bylaw Review, myself and Councillor Peters.
Just an update on the bylaw enforcement officer. The posting is closed and they had 19 applications. This is, I'll just read the email from CAO Dick in Ashcroft. Hiring union employees is generally a senior staff function. As such, all applications have been forwarded to Murray and Christina, which is the CAO of Clinton, and Christina acting CAO for Cache Creek. There should be someone from each community participating in the selection process. Collectively, we will determine a short list for interviews and keep everybody informed as we move forward. And then today, the update, I asked Daniela for an update, and she said out of 19 applicants, we interviewed 5 candidates and have narrowed it to 2. CEO Daly and I are both doing reference checks. Once those are completed, we will discuss and choose the successful applicant. We should have a decision no later than Wednesday.
Thank you. There's a recommendation.
Not on that one, no. I would move that council direct staff to begin drafting a water conservation bylaw in anticipation of the hiring of a bylaw enforcement officer and request the public to be conscientious in their water usage.
Second.
Discussion?
Well, I would like to add that I prepare a graph here showing the water usage compared to the average in the last 5 years, and it appears that we are way above the average. So just for the population to be cautious because it's a dry year, and to be aware that the water is a very, very scarce source. So.
I'm wondering if we can ask the question of Public Works when the last water main inspections were done.
I will ask.
If you could.
I'll just make a note that council did review a Village of Cache Creek water conservation bylaw in 2019, number 808, although it didn't go anywhere at that time, but I believe it's got a lot of what we're looking for at the moment. So,
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor of the recommendation? Carried unanimously. Public Works and Community Facilities, myself and Councillor Defoe.
I would like to move that council authorize staff to move forward with an assessment on options to rectify the issue in regards to the wastewater treatment plant outfall.
Second.
Discussion?
I'll just make a point that any upgrades that we make at this point will probably result in falling under new guidelines, regulations for these things, and it may upgrade our certification. So we should be prepared to be looking to upgrade our water operators certification as well.
Would, thank you. Would the cost to remediate the issues with the outfall fall under the DFA?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. But I think we should have this study done to have this shovel-ready project in case there is a grant opportunity.
Fair enough. Thank you. All in favor of the recommendation? Carried unanimously.
And item 2, I also move that we receive and file the report from Silvis Environmental in regards to the 2020 Biosolids Management Summary.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Village Services and Liaison, Councillor Defoe and Councillor Coomber.
I can or you can, it's up to you.
Sorry?
I can, it's up to you if you want to talk about Go Country. I can if you don't want to.
I
You
can, but you can.
No, you can't. I just talked, that's all good.
Gold Country had its AGM recently, and everyone was acclaimed. Sally Watson is chair. I'm still vice chair. Councillor Defoe is secretary. Councillor Barb Weeb from Lillooet is treasurer. And our directors at large are Jack Jays and Steve Rice.
Thank you.
One thing Gold Country is looking at going back to grassroots and going back to how Gold Country functioned in the previous. So focusing on really Gold Country area and
The nucleus here.
what we started, yeah. Geocaching, et cetera,
Great. Thank you. Anything further under Village Service and Liaison?
I do have a question regarding the planters downtown. Is Public Works taking care of those, or are they just going to be left for the year? Because if they are, I think I have a volunteer group who would like to take that over.
It's a good question.
Probably ask Public Works. But if we have a volunteer group, this might use the volunteer group.
I would check with Public Works too, because it could be a union issue.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
A couple of people have approached me in the past week about it, so I told them that I would ask.
Which one's downtown? Or is it general all of downtown?
All the ones downtown.
Maybe we can find out.
Even a
see where we
cooperative
stand.
effort with
Yeah.
the volunteers and Public Works together to get them done if they're open to that too. I know there's irrigation and things that Public Works have to take care of. The planting is part of it, but if it doesn't get watered, it's. But yes.
I'll have a chat with Public Works.
Thank you. Protective Services, myself and Councillor Coomber. Do that one.
Sure.
It's the election results for 2021.
Yes.
Assistant Chief Damien Couture, Second Assistant Chief Alana Peters, Chairman Alana Peters, Vice Chairman Al Weens, Secretary Damien Couture, Treasurer Bill Elliott, and Entertainment Mike Shepard. And we have a new member, David Dubois, and we welcome him to the volunteer efforts of our fire department, and we are very happy to have him on board in assisting the person power that we need to have an active fire department. And my understanding is he was involved in the past, so he's not starting from scratch. On Saturday, June 12th, 2021, our Graffiti Day Parade will be active and ongoing.
Starts at 11 o'clock, and the maps were in the journal this past week and also available on the Cache Creek Graffiti Days web or Facebook page. They're asking that people that are interested in participating in the parade that they pre-register so that they have all the information for COVID-19.
Thank you. And the recommendation that council authorize Chief Moe to donate end-of-life gear to the First Nations Emergency Support Society.
Second.
Discussion.
What would we normally do with it?
Goes in a container down in the Public Works
Shelf.
yard.
Eventually, it becomes antique and we can use it in the display. So. Maybe have a second.
Yeah, you moved and Lisa second.
Is there anything further with the recommendation? Discussion. All in favor? Carried.
If I could, I will go back to the recommendation for the fire results.
Yes.
I would move that council receive and file the 2021 fire department election results and also send a letter of congratulations on
Thank
a
you.
successful
Second.
election.
Yes. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously.
If I can, just one more item
Certainly.
regarding our buoyant alert. Someone mentioned to me yesterday that they had signed up and they were looking forward to their first alert. And they asked me if we were still under water restrictions, and I said, no, those ended a few days ago. I thought that would be a perfect thing to add to the alerts. And it's too bad that we missed it this time, but I'm sure we'll have more opportunities.
We are still building up the list of participants
Right.
to launch the program.
Yeah. Would it be difficult to add water restrictions to that to the
Oh, we
list?
can add everything.
Okay.
You know, because what's happening is I think people can opt what kind of alerts they receive. If they want only emergency, they receive only emergency alerts. If they want water advisory, they will receive water advisory and so on. I think there are options what people choose to receive notification on.
Okay.
Like garbage day, garbage schedule. I want to have that advisory.
But even if they're
send-
signed up, they can't receive one if we don't send one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we didn't, how to say, we are still collecting contact information.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's going to be an upload,
Right.
you know, so we are not going to enter out manually every contact information. It's going to be an upload.
Okay.
And that's what we are waiting for, more people to kind of join the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be worth adding that another blurb on social media and out there to join by the alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the fire happened in Ashcroft, they had a huge uptake in subscribers. So,
Yeah.
We did send out a pamphlet.
yeah,
So it's.
but it's just a reminder.
Yeah.
Anything further? Intergovernmental relations, myself and Councillor Comer. I'd like to take that one, Councillor Comer.
Sure. I will I'll move the recommendation that council directs staff to request meetings with specific ministers at EBCM for the week of September 14 to 17. And I would like to suggest that we ask for meetings with the minister responsible for forest lands, natural resources, and rural development regarding the 80% cap for DFA assistance, disaster financial assistance.
That's a good one.
And also, I think we should be speaking to Modi regarding the culvert under Highway 97. For one thing, we'll probably develop a huge list of things we'd like to speak to them about.
The 4-laning too with the bridge at the north end of town. That one was kind of brushed off last time we asked it, and then we had elections, so it didn't matter anyway.
Anything further? We have a seconder. I'm sorry.
Second. Did you?
I'm not sure. Okay. We're done with discussions. All in favor? Thank you. Unanimous. Landfill Advisory Committee, myself and Councillor Comer. No report. No. Thank you. Emergency Management Committee, Councillor DeVoe and Councillor Peters.
Covered in the committee of the whole.
Thank you. Information correspondence. Receive and file the letter of support sent by Langley City.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And the recommendation of council, receive and file a letter from Catherine McLean.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Councillor Conger.
I'd like to comment that unfortunately we've been asked to permanently fix the problem of the smell at the sewage treatment plant, but it will not be fixed permanently because there will always be a smell. It might not be as bad as it is right now, but the sewage treatment plant, the problem of smell will not be fixed permanently unless we want to close or move the sewage treatment plant. And that's
Which
going
is
to
an
cost
option.
millions.
Highly improbable. Staff is been directed to take some measures to remove some of the source of the smell that's sort of been sitting in the drying beds, and we hope to get action on that shortly. So there will be an uptake in the smell while they're removing the biosolids from the drying beds for a short period of time, but hopefully that will help the issue down at the sewage treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant. We are making moves to mitigate. Okay, anything further? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. New business. Questions from the public? Questions from the press? That's surprising.
Move to go to closed section.
Second.
Session.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you.